So we're going to be talking about AI and how you can use AI in your presidency to make your life a lot easier and just some general knowledge on AI. It's a new topic I found this year. I know our club really appreciated it, just talking about it, giving some basics. So long and short, I'm a software engineer, been there for far too many years, 30 years almost now. Also a big proponent. I've been on the bleeding edge of technology a lot of times. So I'm usually in the company I'm in, I'm usually on the front end of technologies, trying to come see what's coming down the pipeline. And so when AI started hitting and AI started hitting big, I was one of the first people to kind of take it on and start doing things like paired programming and using it to help my day-to-day activities at work. So then I thought, how can we actually use this in other scenarios? So the fun part is you've been using AI for a number of years now. You just haven't even realized it. Every time you asked your voice assistant, your say Alexa or Siri, hopefully she doesn't pick it up. Um, Anytime you've done emails and it starts typing ahead for you, or when you're searching in Google, it's typing ahead for you. It's using the predictive text models or smart recommendations. It's all been using AI, just very simple models. It's trying to predict the next token that you're going to be using. And there's been a lot of press about AI. Is AI good? Is AI bad? Is it going to take over the world? Um, and I just like to say AI is just another tool. It's like a hammer or a wrench. So you can take your hammer and you can build a home with your hammer. You can also take your hammer and you can break a window or break a wall. It's not the tool itself that's bad, it's how you use the tool and how the user's intent and the outcome that make AI, whether or not what it's doing is good or bad in the long run. So in reality, a lot of people, when you start using it and you start using your tools like Claude or Chat GPT or any of the other models out there, it really does feel like magic. You're asking it things, it's giving you answers, it can write papers, it can solve problems, it can do all kinds of things for you. But you have to remember, it's really not magic. It doesn't really have conscious thought. It's simply relying on mathematical models and a vast amount of data. And it remains just a tool, not a replacement for judgment. And so it's just a quick example of all it's doing is it's just learned from patterns. They have shown AI data and data and data by scraping the web, which has now led to a lot of various and interesting lawsuits and intellectual property lawsuits. But they're just showing it over and over examples. You show a machine enough times what a dog is and what a cat is, it starts being able to distinguish between the two of them by just analyzing the pixels in the image, comparing it to other pixels it's already learned, and then determines is that a dog or a cat. Or another example I like to give is if you give it a maze, just like we used to give rats to find the cheese in the maze, you give it maze, it's not actually going through and figuring out all the possibilities for that maze at a live time. It is comparing that maze to the millions of other mazes that it's already seen, and it already has the example of what the path is, and it's returning that path to you. So it's not actually thinking or doing anything exciting at that real time. So in your daily life, you can use AI to draft your emails, your letters, your reports. You can talk to it back and forth and brainstorm ideas or summaries of things. You can actually use it to translate it. I just recently used it because I was working on a Japanese website and I needed to change text. All I had was the English. So I had to ask it, I've been given this in Japanese. Can you translate this for me? It translates it for you. Plan trips. You can use it to plan your vacation. Show me all the great spots in San Francisco. Show me where the great meals are. You can ask it to plan your workouts. Hey, I'm desiring to get this big, or I'm desiring to get this small, or I want to strengthen this area of my body. Can you give me ideas on what I can do? Learning new concepts is a big thing. Can you get it to teach you? They started saying that AI can replace teachers. I disagree, but it can help and aid students. So if you have a student that's having a hard time in math, you can ask AI to help train train the student in math on certain concepts, it will do a good job. And as the student is interacting with it, it'll start learning and seeing where the student actually is failing and the problems they're having, and start targeting the examples it's giving and the lessons it's learning at those areas, specifically trying to get them to understand that. So I encourage you to pull up ChatGPT or anything else and just play with it for a while just to see what it can do for you. Now, the more interesting part, though, to make your presidency easier is how can we use it in our Rotary clubs today? So a big area I like to give is you streamline club communications. Now, I'm going to say that AI, again, should be your companion. It should not replace. We have someone in our club that does a fabulous job of getting our newsletter together, and that newsletter goes out each week through email to everyone and gets printed and put on tables, and people take it and leave it in their places of business. And we've gotten compliments before because it just gives a small summary of what's going on, what's happening with people's birthdays, what the last week's topic was, and a summary of the information. Well, each week that person would sit there and I'd watch them take notes and do their thing. I finally said to them, why don't you use this AI note taker and see what happens? And the AI note taker would started learning from our meeting. It started picking up on people's names so that the person didn't have to remember, oh, Jim said this or Molly said this. And it started giving them the information. Then this person could say, can you take this information and turn it into my newsletter next week? So that person is still helping the club. They're still getting to feel like they're part of the action in the club. They're giving back, but they're also not having to spend maybe an hour on the newsletter. Maybe that time's cut in half. Now they're down to 30 minutes in the newsletter. You can use it to organize and analyze your membership data. Now, Rotary Central gives you some information on your membership data, but say you do your survey, you can send the surveys out, get your surveys results back, and then you can actually feed those in to ChatGPT or any of the others and ask it, can you analyze the trends in this? Can you tell me what my membership is telling me without me having to go in and do it? You can also use it to schedule your social media posts or even provide content suggestions. And even better, you can have it provide content suggestions that won't get me in trouble, making sure that I'm not putting derogatory language or something that would be bad to put out in the public, having it scan that. So it's a fabulous way to make it a lot easier in the long run. So I like to take on planning service projects. So we want to do a community food drive. Let's have AI give us a 6-month plan for a community food drive, or draft a marketing plan for a fundraising event. All it's doing is going back and looking at all the other fundraising events it's seen online. And it's like, oh, this looks like the common things that someone needs to do in order to do a fundraising event. Here it is. Then for that event, give me a list of volunteer roles and the timelines they'll need to be there. So again, have it do all that. You have to go through and double check, making sure it makes sense, making sure it knows what it's doing, going from there. You can use it for your president year to make PowerPoint presentations. It will do that for you. You can say, hey, I'm going to have these points in my meeting today. Generate me a PowerPoint to do it. Then later on, you can say, go ahead and give me some pictures. For example, the picture you're looking at here, you can clearly see is AI, because all these people must be related, especially the ones in yellow, because really it looks like different views of the same person over and over again. But it looks good enough for a presentation, and it just goes, and I didn't have to go out and get any of these people permission to use their face in my presentation. So in your club, you can have it to go out and do things. Are your service projects getting boring? Well, you can tell AI, I live in Bismarck, North Dakota. I want you to go out and find information about my community and do some trend analysis and tell me what are the areas that are probably in need for a service project in my community. And it will probably come back with some ideas. You can have it generate survey analysis for program effectiveness. Here's the number of things we're doing. Here's what's going on. Feed it the documents, feed it all maybe the hours you put in or whatever else, and it will tell you whether or not you're having a positive impact, or is maybe this program that you're working on or this project taking up more time than it's actually impacting. In some of the areas, you might need to translate your materials into multiple languages. It can help do that. Again, if you're in an area where you have a lot of bilingual people or people that speak one language or another, you want them all to be able to show up and feel comfortable in an event. You could have your materials for that event written in English and say written in Spanish, and it will do probably a pretty good job. The important part for you again is to stand up in front of the group and let them know, hey, I used AI to generate this Spanish part. So please forgive me if it messed up or it's not quite right. It was the best I had to do because I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, but I knew I wanted to include you in our event. You could do brainstorm on things on different projects. Again, you can have it sit there and have a communication with it, talk back and forth, or have it as like another person on your board when you're coming up with different ideas and have it listen to what people are saying and then maybe come up with ideas, or it will listen to pick up on trends that are happening at the board meeting and spit back out ideas that you maybe nobody thought of, possibly combining other people's ideas. So again, the key fact here is to use it responsibly. So you always want to double check facts when it spits things out. You want to be very transparent about using AI. You want to make sure when you're feeding things in, you give it diverse and representative data. Otherwise, it will start leaning toward one way or the other. If you give it all right leaning or conservative leaning information, it will give you back, assuming you want to hear conservative leaning results. You need to make sure you give it both left and right leaning information if you want to give it that good neutral thing. And never delegate decisions to AI. So, takeaways, very powerful tool as long as it's used responsibly. Use it to enhance, not replace your human judgment. You can use it in every day of life and in your Rotary service. And make sure, again, you always review and verify any AI generated content to make sure it's proper and okay to put up.